Long ago, in the heart of the Ashanti kingdom, there lived a young man named Kwame. He was the bravest warrior in the land, known for his strength and wisdom. His wife, Abena, was as beautiful as the moon and as clever as the old griots who knew the stories of the ancestors. One day, Kwame's father, the great King Kofi, grew angry with him. "You have defied my wishes, Kwame. As punishment, you must leave this land for 12 years, the king decreed. Kwame, heartbroken, returned to his hut. Seeing his sorrow, Abena asked, "Why do you look so troubled, my love?" Kwame sighed. "My father has banished me for 12 years. I must leave at sunrise." Hearing this, Abena fell to the ground, fainting from grief. When she awoke, she clutched Kwame's hands. "If you must go, I will go with you. What is life without you?" Kwame hesitated. "The journey will be dangerous. The forests are filled with wild beasts and the rivers are deep and treacherous." But Abena shook her head. "I would rather face the dangers of the wild than the sorrow of your absence." Seeing her resolve, Kwame agreed, and at dawn, they set off into the vast jungle. For days they traveled, until exhaustion overtook them beneath the shade of a mighty baobab tree. As they rested, a deadly black serpent slithered toward Abena and struck her with its fangs. She cried out and fell limp in Kwame's arms. Kwame wept and wailed so loudly that the spirits of the forest stirred. "O ancestors, take my life instead. Let my beloved live," he pleaded. At that moment, the great spirits of the land, Nyame and Asaseya, appeared. Nyame, the sky god, spoke. "Life and death are bound by destiny, young warrior. But if you wish, you may give half of your life to Abena, and she will rise again." Without hesitation, Kwame agreed. The gods instructed him to sprinkle sacred water upon Abena. As soon as he did, her eyes fluttered open. "My love, why did you not wake me?" she asked, unaware of what had happened. Kwame only smiled. "You were resting, my dear." They continued their journey until they reached a faraway village, where they found refuge in the hut of a mysterious old man. This man, a trickster in disguise, was no ordinary elder. He was an enchanter who saw the fire of desire in Abena's eyes. As Kwame went to fetch water from the river, the enchanter whispered to Abena, "Why do you wander the land with this man when you could live in riches by my side?" Abena hesitated. "But he is my husband." The enchanter chuckled. "Then rid yourself of him. Push him into the river, and you shall know a life of pleasure." That night, Abena took Kwame to the riverbank. "I am thirsty," she said sweetly. "Will you fetch me some water?" Kwame smiled, unaware of the betrayal in her heart. As he bent to fill his gourd, Abena pushed him into the raging river. The current swallowed him whole, and Abena returned to the enchanter. Under his influence, she became the most celebrated dancer in the land, performing for chiefs and traders alike. The enchanter grew rich and Abena basked in luxury, but the gods had not forgotten. Fate, like the river, has its own course. Kwame, instead of drowning, was caught by the roots of an ancient tree. There, a group of traveling merchants found him, half drowned but alive. They nursed him back to health, and he joined their caravan, seeking a new life in a distant kingdom. By the will of the spirits, Kwame's path led him to the very city where Abena danced for the king. One evening, disguised as a merchant, he entered the grand palace. He watched as Abena performed before the king in his court, her movements as captivating as the flowing river. When she finished, Kwame removed a golden ring, the very ring he had given her long ago, and tossed it at her feet. Abena gasped. She knew that ring. She knew that face. Her heart pounded. How is this possible? He should be dead. Fear gripped her, for she knew the gods do not let betrayal go unpunished. The king, seeing her distress, asked, "What troubles you, my favorite dancer?" She forced a smile. "Nothing, my king. Only I wish to make a request." "Speak, and it shall be granted," the king replied. "I wish for the head of this merchant," she declared, pointing at Kwame. The king, bound by his word, ordered Kwame's execution. But Kwame raised his hand. "Before I die, grant me a single plea." The king nodded. "Speak." Kwame turned to Abena. "Return to me what I once gave you." Abena, thinking he meant the golden ring, eagerly agreed. "I return it," she said, holding the ring high. Kwame shook his head. "No, not that. The life I gave you." The moment he spoke, Abena collapsed. The spirits had taken back what was borrowed. The king and his court gasped in shock. "Who are you?" the king demanded. Kwame recounted his tale, from his exile to his betrayal. The king, moved by his honor and courage, made Kwame a prince of the land and gave him his own daughter's hand in marriage. As for the enchanter, he was thrown into the river, swallowed by the waters that had once nearly claimed Kwame. And so the story of Kwame and the serpent's curse was passed down through generations, whispered by the fires at night, a lesson to all. Betrayal is like the river. It may seem to carry you forward, but in the end, it will always pull you under.